Though he may not be considered the boogeyman of the middleweight division anymore, Triple G's place in the sport has long been solidified. And as we enter into the twilight of Triple G's career, there is no shortage of boxers that want their chance at the future Hall of Famer. First, we have the rumors of Triple G and the WBA champion Murata may fight at the end of the year, who knows. Then you got Jermall Charlo posting a picture of him and Triple G, and underneath it says, let's make it happen. And finally, promoter Ben Shalom makes his case for Chris Eubank Jr. out of all people. Good name, not necessarily a good resume, but he's saying he needs to get his shot. And he said this to Sky Sports. It's a fight that we want to make. It's the best fight out there. Stylistically, it is amazing. They have a genuine dislike for each other that has been brewing for years. It is Eubank Jr.'s big moment to get into contention for world title fights against the likes of Gennady Golovkin. I never knew he had a problem with Chris Eubank Jr. I don't know if this has been brewing for years. Oh, Triple G is like, oh, that Eubank.
Do you smell a cap? Do you smell a cap there, Barack?
Hey, that's what they're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to promote your fighter, man, and say whatever you need to say to make it happen. Some people talk their way into fights like Rolly. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not that bad. But what do you think Triple G would lean to? Which particular fight?
Well, first thing I want to address is Eubank Jr. Though he doesn't have a great resume, Barack, he did look really good in his last performance, and I think he's improving as a fighter. And I wouldn't mind seeing that fight. Now,
I gotta alter that a little bit, because even though James DeGale was kind of like at the end of his career, he did drop him twice and he got that victory. So that's a good name on his resume.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously Roy Jones Jr. has been doing a phenomenal job with him. Working him as a trainer. Now, I love the fact that Jermall Charlo.
Wait, can I say one thing though? The reason why I said that is because this is Triple G. This is Triple G, who is one of the longest title holders. Like, shouldn't he be fighting champs? Like, there's no gain for him to fight Chris Eubank. Is what I'm saying.
No question about that. I can appreciate what Jermall Charlo said on an interview that I saw recently about Triple G. He said, hey, I want to fight. He's a big name, but I also don't want people to start saying afterwards, this is the older guy. I'm picking on the guy who's 38, 39 years old. So he understands that if he does fight Triple G and beats him, he's going to get that criticism. But, to his credit, look, there's not that many other guys out there in the middleweight division. This is a fight that we've wanted to see for a long time. The boxing world wanted to see for a long time. So if I had my choice, obviously it would be Jermall Charlo, Barack. But we've heard that Triple G wants to fight Murata, so maybe somewhere in Japan. I don't know why Triple G hasn't been vocal about fighting Jermall Charlo, who's a middleweight world champion. I don't understand why. Maybe there's something else to that story. But no disrespect to Eubank Jr., would be a good fight against Triple G. Mm-hmm. I need to see Triple G fight Jermall Charlo. That's the only fight, in my opinion, that the fans will be excited about.
Yeah, and listen, of course I would love to see him fight Chris Eubank Jr. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying what makes sense. If you ask anybody, does that make sense as opposed to him fighting an Andre? Like, why? But then again, think about it. Triple G doesn't say anybody's name except Canelo. And right now he's not even saying Canelo's name, so he's not the kind of guy to call guys out. But I'm talking about being at that age, being at that stage of game and all that you've accomplished already. Shouldn't you be trying to unify? If it's not Andre, Charlo, or Murata, why would you fight somebody else unless you think that crowd is so big in the UK, which it can be, fighting Chris Eubank Jr.?
Yeah, I mean, that could very well be the case. Mm-hmm. You talk about money, you're getting paid right, you're in front of the right audience, the right amount of people. You said, does it make sense? Yes, that makes sense. If it makes dollars, it makes sense. So that can be the case. I do think Triple G has a sense of pride, and he fights for legacy, not only money. He's that pedigree. He has that type of pedigree, Barack. But he's been so distant and been so quiet for so long. And boxing, you can very well be forgotten quickly unless you're active in that ring. So hopefully we hear an announcement very soon. And maybe before his career is over, we'll get that trilogy against Canelo Alvarez.
Hold on. Like, he's 40.
Hold on. Now, it would be at 168 or higher. Canelo has already expressed that if he ever fights Triple G, it's not going to be at 160. Maybe he still has that chip on his shoulder, Barack, and wants to prove that he's better than Canelo. Who knows?
I know. We ain't gonna see that. Nah, come on. I was probably one of the few saying that in 2019, before the pandemic, that I wanted to see, another one. But I don't think it's gonna happen, man. But I think he's in a tough spot. He's in a spot where he's one of the top guys in the world, and even his promoter, Eddie Hearn said, you need to fight somebody. So who is the public going to be happy seeing him fight? Are we going to even be happy seeing him fight Murata, even though it's a title? You never really know. So obviously, people would love to see him fight Canelo. Even the people that say they don't want to see that would love to see that, because that was so competitive. A lot of people think he won the first fight, so they would love to see that fight. But Canelo has been moved on so much, knocking people out, going in another division. Is it in his best interest to even fight Triple G right now?
I mean, listen, that's still a fight that a lot of people want to watch, Barack. We know, we've been there around those Triple G fans, and a lot of those guys feel that he still won at least one of those fights. So
Mexican Triple G fans told us that. Many of them told us that when we was in Vegas and we was filming everybody outside. Mexican fans were saying Triple G won that first fight.
To be honest, Barack, that still very well might be the biggest fight for Canelo Alvarez out there. I really believe that. Now, obviously, Triple G has to fight somebody. So hopefully he fights somebody this year. It reminds people that he's still Triple G, even if he's an older version of him. Yeah. And I think that's still the biggest fight in boxing, but Canelo has, other fish to fry. I wouldn't say bigger fish to fry, but other fish to fry, and I can't wait for that fight.